I feel like I do a lot more than a lot of people, like, I don't know, even realize that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But also too, I don't put myself out there as much. I am more now so than I ever have before, but yeah, it's a different kind of vibe, I feel. Like having that courage to actually use that inner voice to like express yourself about like, hey, this is what I'm going through. These are all the things I do. It's like there's this stigma between having, the ability to express our accomplishments or something, like we're going to get shamed for it, so we kind of step back from boasting, I guess, or being proud of the things that we do because we don't want to be judged. So I guess having that transition of like changing mindset that now it's okay to talk about it, and that's why I reached out, it's like, okay, I'm ready to talk about all these things.
And also, like, I love seeing people who are multi-passionate and like super creative doing different things because that's me. And like, not only that, but I've heard of other like business like type people saying like focus on one thing at a time, but it's like I literally can't. So like it's so nice to see people who are also multi-passionate and doing all the things and like succeeding and like learning along the way and just
Yeah, definitely constant growth, and it is so beautiful. Yeah, the more that you can get involved with, I feel like your life is just going to be more prosperous all around. You're going to be abundant in so many different ways. Like you're going to create balance in so many different areas of your life that you didn't even realize like were stagnant. You're like, oh yeah, this was the blocked energy I had this whole time. This is why I wasn't moving up in, my creative endeavors. Like if you're an artist, a painter, this is why I've been at this roadblock for so long. If you work out for so long and you're like, this is why I haven't been able to hit a PR, like it's because this energy has been blocked and you haven't been able to express it. So yeah, I feel like exploring, taking risks, it's important.
It really is.
So
who are you? What did you do?
Oh man, I have.
Her name's Haley. I met her recently, and I was like, I don't know exactly like she's or psychic or like does spiritual stuff, but like
yeah, it's a little bit of everything. I've always had like psychic abilities since I was really, really young, and those voices, which now, diagnosed schizophrenia, I learned were a gift. It's what kept me alive as a kid. Like listening to those voices got me through so many things. But so being a psychic was something that I actually hid from the world for a really long time because of the reactions I received, because of my experiences, because of the stigmas, that society creates around having those types of gifts. I was seen as crazy and weird and like, bullied and everything else. And so it was like, that was something that I truly wanted to hide from the world until like about 2 years ago or so. I really came out publicly, like, I need to start expressing myself. I need to start using this gift because I know it can help people. So that's when I started doing readings, and then like publicly for friends and some family. Then about a year ago, I really started pushing more on the internet. My ears just like pushing more on the internet. I need to do that more. I'm afraid to. So I'm holding back on that. That's a fear. I know. I just had some realization right there. Okay. But growing up, like my passion was I played rugby, and being athletic, it was just a part of, I felt like a necessity for me to survive, to like stay out of my mom's home. Like I tried to stay out as long as I could. So school was something that I really thrived on, like learning. So I got really big into educating myself when it came to physical fitness. I met my dad later in life, like when I was in high school. Also, I was declared homeless by the state of Michigan at 16, emancipated myself. I was out on my own living with clients. So that's why also sports kind of like saved me too, to keep me afloat. I was working full time since age 13. Anyway, those were kind of like all factored into like the decisions I made about what I wanted to do. So that's why physical fitness was huge for me. Growing up and doing sports was huge for me. So soccer also, but rugby was like the main passion. So rugby, and then I started getting into lifting. I got into powerlifting about 2017 and started dabbling into strongman too. So I competed in both of them, strongman and powerlifting for a little bit. I took a break this past year because I got full custody of my son because his dad left for Europe. So that was a whole thing, a transition. But I'm just now getting back into being more competitive. So yeah, anyway, I ended up rewind getting my certification through NASM for personal training. That's why I ended up at Great Life for a couple years. But then I ended up going independent. I trained out of Sharps and Flex, and then I ended up training out of my gym in my basement.
Yeah, gym in your
Yeah.
Yes.
But then I completely just cut it off because I had a couple serious spiritual awakenings that were really like ego death hit hard, like rock bottom. I had to figure shit out. Life completely turned and changed. And I was being forced to make a change on, you know what, you wanted this spiritual path. Is this what you truly want? Are you gonna truly surrender? Like I was definitely being tested in so many different ways, especially with the physical when it came to abundance. Are you actually going to, you know, let go of control of being like stuck into a budget of like I have to have XYZ in order to, you know, have enough money to do whatever. Like no, you got to let go of that lack mentality. You got to be like, I have enough, I am abundant in this moment, I will be provided for as long as I'm working towards my purpose. And so like having that shift, that mentality around money really shifted what I did business wise. So that shift, I started to recognize too my clients energetically, love them all to pieces. But when you start ascending more, you start to recognize energies that are not willing to receive. They are not willing to change. And you have to stop expending your energy to try to save them because you've already provided tools. And so then that shifted my dynamic of doing personal training into spiritual guidance, which is what I do now. And so now I help people more with like inner child wounds, being able to understand energy, how to work with energy, how to like live the way that I live by surrendering and using those metaphysical signs, those synchronicities, numerology, colors, animals, being able to utilize everything in your waking day to be like, okay, I am more conscious, I am more awake, I can make choices a lot more fluidly, you know. So that is what I do now. And art is just like, I'm in school for art right now, specializing in sculpture. I worked at Bronze Age art casting for a little bit, did some wonderful work there. I have a couple pieces in galleries right now.
Oh, nice.
So it's like, you know, I love art ever since I was a kid. The thing with art is when I was younger, I had some maternal wounds that I had to work through, which I recently worked through at ayahuasca. I'm so grateful for that. Also had some other epiphanies, which changed the dynamic of things. But anyway, because of that issue that I had in high school when it came to art with the connection with my mother, I quit doing art. And I always remembered my high school art teacher, Miss Smith. She would always say, Haley, please, whatever you do not quit doing art. And I would think about that constantly. And then it came like my first awakening that I had about 5 years ago. It really triggered this, Haley, you need to get back into art. And so then I started dabbling more and more and getting back into art, but trying different mediums. I would try everything and anything, multimedia. I would push myself. I would, you know, try things that I haven't typically seen before. And that was just to expand my mind, explore, you know, let out that inner child more, which I kind of stopped doing in order to really open doors for other opportunities in my life, which it did. It allowed me to meet new people. That's how I got that job at Bronze Age. I was able to connect with, you know, more like-minded individuals. I was able to start doing more of like the classes and projects and things that I wanted to do, and introduce those types of people that, you know, I wanted in my life. They were just flowing in without me even trying. human design though, that's like a projector quality, right? So it's like you're you're pulling in those opportunities by that law of attraction by putting out that kind of energy. And so it took me a long time to recognize how powerful the mind is. And so I feel all those different purposes have a meaning throughout my life, and I was able to, like with that art thing, healing from my maternal part, but still being able to continue now and seek different avenues, within art, within that category. Like it has allowed me to grow in so many different ways. And I feel like with all my experiences in all different areas, that's why I'm able to connect with so many people so well, is because everybody has so many different little like valleyways and doors to their soul, and it's like they stop exploring, they stop seeking, and it's like if I can spark that little light in one way, in one corridor, and then they just start blossoming and exploring. And that's why I feel the work that I do, when it combines mind, body, and soul, literally, like we can have this connection of our physical workout. We can focus on, wow, our breath work, changes everything about our awareness of our body when we work out, understanding that, wow, our minds are so powerful, what we're telling our bodies to do, like understanding all of that connection gives me so much passion. And that's why I do everything I do now, tying in all those different parts.
Yeah. Oh my God.
That was so much. I'm so sorry. Just so like,
no, I loved it. I was taking it in, and like there's so much. I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to dive more deep into that.
yes.
Okay, so first thing that came to mind was when you say psychic, or like I think you said psychic abilities, or just being psychic. What do you mean by that for you?
So,
I know I'm sure it's different for everyone.
Yeah, so like the clairs, there's like 7 different clairs. I have a few of them. So like clear knowing, clear seeing, clear tasting, they're claircognizance,
I'm not
clairvoyance. Never.
No.
All right, I'll send you some info. But it's everybody has the ability to, like working out, like a muscle, work on these abilities. Like we can tap into the awareness of these abilities, and it's how spirit communicates with us. It's how we receive messages. And so for a lot of us, like at a young age, we just experience these things and we don't know how to process them. We don't know how to explore them or express them. Especially with the way that, how I said earlier, people look down on it, it has a stigma to it. Woohoo. But it's just like, for example, you have this clear knowing that is like your gift, right? Apparently. So yeah, I know. Yep, I'm just saying that just now because I'm gonna give you an example, because this is coming to my mind. Okay, it's because in situations growing up, you have escaped a lot of trouble by just knowing like when to dip out or when to leave or when to not grab something or do something. I'm seeing like grabbing something, like you just knew to just walk away, right? So that is like your gift, your ability is just to know. You just have that clear know.
Oh my fuck! Okay. So I was bring something up too, but the fact that you brought it up first is like mind blowing. Okay. Holy shit.
So it's like having that ability. When we recognize these things at a young age, like for me, for example, I recognize these gifts at a young age. I was able to continue like working on them because I was curious about them. And so I kept building them up until now I can actually express them. Whereas before I had to keep them hidden. So all it is though is energy. It's just energy work. It's being able to tap in to each other's, because we are all connected. And when we're able to tap in, we can help bring more awareness to the other person, and then so on and so forth. That snowball effect of mass awareness, yeah.
Okay. So tell me if this is like what this is like the clear knowing, but because I was gonna bring up how like I think I've had multiple people tell me that I am like very intuitive. Like I had someone on my podcast, she's a she also is a psychic, and she does like manifestation work and stuff. And she's like, we were just talking. She's like, do you know that you are very intuitive? And I'm like, yes. And like, I'm getting told more and more. But also, okay, so I will be something will just come to my mind. Like I'll be thinking something, or like I don't even know. I can't even explain it. It's like something comes to my mind super randomly, and then like it'll happen. Or like, yeah, usually that's what it is. Like I'm thinking something just comes to my mind, and then it happens. Or like it's like a feeling, and I just assume that like, yeah, that's my intuition. And I feel like I've been wanting to like dive deeper into that and like connect with that more. Is that what you mean by like clear knowing? That's
Yep.
okay.
Yep. You get premonitions and so
Yes!
yeah.
Thank you.
And there's usually like time lapses. So some people get them early onset and some people get them late, right? So mine are within like, when I have them, they happen between 6 months and a year. My friend Amy, hers are like years, like 2 to 5 years in the future. So
Oh, wow.
she sees them really early. Then there's people like you who are like, it can happen
Yeah.
almost like in like 5 minutes
Yes,
later.
it's usually
Yeah.
like within
Like really soon. Like you
Yes.
see it like right in that time
yes,
frame. Mhm.
like it makes a day or two the longest. And so actually I've never said this before, I don't think, but I remember the first time that happened, and I was in like middle school maybe. I grew up in Vermillion. I was at the public pool with my sister and another friend, and in my head I remember thinking like spending the night at our friend's house or whatever. And then like a couple minutes later, our friend was like asked us to stay the night, or just said we could stay the night or like whatever. And I remember I freaked out. I'm like, yes, I was just thinking that. I was just thinking that. Oh my gosh. And I remember that. And I'm just like, I didn't think about it. I didn't think about it. I didn't think anything of it at the time. But like then it happened more and more, and then now it's like just recently I've been looking back on that moment, and also I think that I thought that just always happens with people. And I'm just learning
Yeah,
that
now
like
you're
within
like,
this year, talking to people.
Mind is blown.
Yeah. So it's like,
But
yeah.
now that you are more aware of it, you can work on it and you can use it. Like how we see superpowers. Like
Yeah.
for real though, like I like to put it in that kind of a mentality because it makes it, more
Yeah.
more motivational.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, I got superpowers.
Yeah.
You just tap into them.
Yeah.
Yeah, build them up. But seriously though, it becomes to the point where, it can save your life,
Yeah.
and it has saved your life,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, oh, and there are times that I don't listen to it. The major one, what were you gonna say?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So like sometimes it's just small, like I'm like, oh, I should have done this or whatever. But one time I was with my sister, we were driving back from her boyfriend's house at the time, her now husband, and I was hungover. We had party the next day, and I remember just like laying back and like my head was back and I didn't buckle up. And I remember like, and our dad used to like pound it into our heads like buckle up, buttercup, like every single time. And I always the habit was always just to buckle up. Well, I remember just like my head was back, and I just remembered like having a strong feeling like you should buckle up. And I was like, oh, it'll be fine. And then like seconds later, we got hit by someone, and like I'm lucky I didn't get thrown out. The doctors were like, it's a miracle you didn't get thrown out of the car. So
that was your reality check.
Yeah,
like, wake up, dude.
Yeah.
Like, you're not kidding.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, isn't that crazy how strong our intuition is?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I always think like I don't know what to do to like make it be stronger, or like then how I can use it, or how I can use it to help other people. Like I just have no idea. And Cuban, actually, my fiance is just like, she always has known that she thinks that there is something. I am something. I don't know. I have something that I can spiritually do. I don't know. This.
You do. Everybody does.
Yeah, everyone does.
Yeah, we can definitely work on like building the trust within our intuition. And I want to give you, if you don't mind, if you're willing to accept, I'll share with you one of the ways that I like to have my clients do to build trust.
Yes.
Okay, so I like to see it as a game, and you're going to take, say, like a red cardinal, right? As I'm going to pick a sign or a symbol. Red cardinal is going to be my sign or my symbol. And I'm going to tie it into, say, my career. And I am going to, first of all, I always clear ground and set up protection in any kind of anything that I do when you're trying to work with your higher self or spirit, whatever you choose to do.
Yeah.
Source. So after you do that, set your symbol and then set your intention and be very specific for your intention. And mine will be for career, for example. I want to know more about my life's purpose, not specifically my career in this moment, but where my career will be headed, right? So that, for example. And then I like to use the rule of 3. So you see it 3 times, for sure Spirit's knocking on your door trying to give you a sign, right? Some people just go by 1. It's what your intuition tells you. But I know for sure for me, 3 is my good luck charm. Then you're going to pay attention. You're going to set a time frame, say the next 48 hours or 72 hours, right? In this time frame. Pay attention, be aware of your surroundings. If you see a red cardinal, say at the zoo, it's a stuffed animal, right? Say you see a red cardinal that's a coloring book or something. Okay, think of that career-wise. How are you feeling in that moment? What does that relate to, right? What are you thinking when you saw it? Like, be very just in the present moment when you see that sign that you requested. And then you start making those connections subconsciously with yourself physically in your subconscious. And so then you're building that trust in your intuition that the universe is giving you these signs. And now you're starting to make connections of, I knew I was supposed to do this. I knew that this was the direction I had to go in. I knew, like, I just got confirmation that my thought was correct. Like I was right. I wasn't going crazy, so that is how you start building that trust, is by playing that game of setting, your symbol, your time frame, your clear intention, and then just being aware and paying attention, and then just making those connections.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna do that. And I have kind of done something similar because I do have a sign that I kind of like declare to the universe, and it's a butterfly.
There you go.
Yeah.
But see, you can do so many different things.
Okay, I was gonna ask that.
Yeah. So, for example, I'm gonna give you this crazy. I was going through this drama deciding between 2 guys, right? And that's just so like, okay. But I was like, okay, show me a white butterfly or show me a yellow butterfly for, XYZ. And then I paid attention to, because I did see 3 of each one, but the moments that I saw them, where I saw them, and what I was feeling made that biggest difference. So every time I saw that yellow butterfly, I was in a state of anxiety. And I knew right then that, that told me that was not it. And so I was right. And it was like, it saved me. But it's like you build that connection by like, what are you feeling emotionally, because that energy in motion is trying to give you a sign. And then by you using your physical request of whatever symbol you're using, putting those connections together, that's why connecting that physical and that mental, it's so important.
Yeah. And I've never been as intentional. Well, I've been intentional, but like they've never just taken a moment to like ground, like you said, like ground yourself, breathe, and like really become more connected, I guess, before like having that as a sign. And like
the more clarity you have before trying to set those intentions, the more clarity you will receive.
Yep.
Yeah.
So do you have, so when you say like the clears, like clear knowing, clear seeing, clear taste?
Oh, there's so many.
There's a lot of them.
There's like 7 of them.
Oh.
I don't want to say anything wrong, so I'm about to be like, hey. So clairvoyance is clear seeing. Okay. The ability to see visions. Clear audience is clear hearing. Clear empathy is clear sensing emotion. So people who are very empathetic. Clear sentience is sensing feelings. So that gut feeling. Clear alience is the smell. Clear gustance is taste, which I have experienced taste before. It was like this sausage, and it reminded me of this restaurant, Wolfgang's, that's back home in Michigan. And that is where I last had breakfast with my Aunt Nancy before she passed away. And the dream I had was directly related to her when I woke up and I tasted the sausage. It was
wow.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah.
Clairtangency is touch or feeling. Interesting. You're able to receive a message by touching or holding an object.
Oh, wow.
Which I have been able to, when I first got into using a pendulum, I was practicing a lot everywhere that I went. And I told myself that, okay, I understand that our palms are extensions of our hearts. We are able to give and receive through our palms, right? So we can sense this energy. And so I was like, I don't need a pendulum. I started practicing going to the grocery store and sensing with my hand the energy. So I'd be like, yes, this one.
So this, I'm like freaking out because Kiana has that.
Yeah.
I remember so we were hiking and she goes up to the big ginormous rock and she just like puts her hand on it. And I'm just like, what are you doing? She has never done that before. And she was like, I can, by touching, she's like, I can hear the rock. Like I can feel it, but it's like it was hard for her to explain.
Yeah.
But she could like hear it, feel it, whatever, like sense it, whatever, when she's touching it.
That's amazing.
Yeah. She's listening to this. She's like, so that's,
yes.
She has that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. And you can build that too. And that becomes a big thing with like judging the energy of someone else. I don't like using the word judging, but I guess sensing.
Yeah.
You are able to sense the vibration of another being.
Vibration.
Yeah, that's a better way of
Yeah.
I don't like the word judge. It's
yucky.
yucky.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, being able to sense energy, like
Yeah.
we can do it in so many different ways.
Yep.
There's so many ways to do
Wow.
it. Yeah.
What is now?
Ego death, oh my gosh. The most recent one I experienced was at ayahuasca. I literally thought that I was dying, like that I was going to die. Like I was like, there's no way I'm gonna make this. Like I asked the facilitator, I was like, could you please help me breathe? Like it got to the point where it's like you feel like you're suffocating, you are literally going into this black abyss, like you are dying. But then you resurface, you come out and it's like clear mind, like you see things differently. It's like, yeah, you drown, but then you come back to life. It's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. It's a crazy experience. It really is.
And so if anyone's listening and they don't know what ayahuasca,
yes.
Yeah, what is that?
Oh, it's a plant medicine.
I want to.
Yes. So I highly recommend going to California. I can give you the church's information, but here in the States, it has to be done through a church because it is an indigenous practice and because it's DMT based. So it's illegal, but it is what they say. There's also, sorry, my mind just went elsewhere. There's I think it's called the Vines of Soul, or gosh, what is it? There's a documentary, I think, on Netflix.
Oh,
that's
sweet.
about
Okay.
it. Check that out.
Okay.
That it's pretty informational. But supposedly it's like 10 years of trauma therapy that's like in one ceremony. I had 3 ceremonies, and the more that you take back to back, the more the plant medicine builds up in your system. And so the stronger the trip each night, the more consistent you do it. So the first night I had a really great experience. I didn't purge a lot. The second and third night, however, were very, very, very deep. There was a lot of healing, a lot of trauma that surfaced, a lot of having to process and confront things that I wasn't, dealing with that I needed to. That is the whole point, though, of taking this plant medicine. Like, it literally is medicine. It's not just like people who want to go trip and like have fun recreationally. Like, no, this is like serious. If you are about healing, if you are about, stopping the projections of your traumas into your relationship so that you can actually have a healthy relationship, that's conscious, instead of being like, oh my God, I'm going to give you all my insecurities and not heal from anything. Like, no, that's not acceptable anymore. This is 2022. Okay, we're moving up in relationships and loving ourselves and knowing our self-worth. So that is where I find the beauty in ayahuasca. Is it brings this amazing community together, this connection of just pure light, love, and compassion. Like, everybody there, the facilitators were amazing. They took care of everybody like we were freaking babies. Like, we were little babies on our cots with our little throw up buckets, and like they were just taking care of us like we needed. Because a lot of times, a lot of us, we grow up too quickly. That's where a lot of our trauma occurs. And so the way that they put on ceremony, the way that they cared for everybody, it was like a whole nother level of acceptance of being seen and heard, along with your experience of the plant medicine, whatever that provides for you. It's different every single time, and you can never predict what it's going to be like, because it's not what you want, it's what you need. So it's going to give you what you need to focus on if you are being genuine about, this journey of healing and being a better person. I feel like we all need to find our purpose. Like, we need to figure out, what that path is. And by staying in one place, we're never going to figure that out. And this plant medicine isn't a cure-all, but it definitely will push you in the right direction of like, this is what you need to confront. This is what needs to be healed. Like, it will force you to process through things. And that is where I found a lot of healing and joy and peace. And like, it completely changed my perspective coming back. Mother Aya will work before and after. The moment you decide that you're going to do ceremony, the universe starts throwing tests your way. Like, I kid you not, the day before my ceremony, my stepmom got stage 4 cancer, diagnosed stage 4 cancer out of the blue. She just went in for lung problems, like she was having a hard time breathing. And then boom, day before my first ceremony. Like, it was a constant. And as soon as I got back from doing ayahuasca, it was also very like, hit the deer, had to deal with all that stuff, like constant boom, boom, boom. But it's testing you. Like, are you actually healing? Are you putting the work into healing? Or are you just saying that you are, and not following through? So it's all about follow through. Are you going to continue to react and retaliate? Or are you going to sit back and just have a response to it?
Yeah. I like how you said it that way. Like how
the second and third night, it was mediocre. Like, me personally, there's a lot of people who like shit themselves and like,
oh really?
Yeah, it was all over the place, man. People being crazy. There's so much going on. But me, I luckily didn't deal with any of that. Like, I threw up very seldomly. Like, it wasn't that at all. There was, though, it was really intense. They had a lot of different plant medicines there, like rapé, which is the fine tobacco powder that they blow up the sinus cavity. Oh my gosh. And then they have these eye drops that like kills all the parasites in your eyes, but it feels like mace. But they and then they had this guy with the smoke. It was like sage, he was smudging, and the shaman who had these bundle of leaves and he's like shake them. And then they were all walking around and they had live music, like these just amazing musicians. The atmosphere was beautiful. They were keeping down the energy, but I just remember I was purging a lot of like my sexual trauma at the time. This was my second ceremony was all about my sexual trauma. And so I started throwing up, and then I heard them get closer, and I'm like, oh God, what's going on? And then all of a sudden, I got all these different rattles over my head. I got this thing in my ear. I got this guy blowing smoke as I'm just like, this, like, oh my God, what's going on? And they get closer and closer, and I'm just like, bah! I just throw up everywhere. But I'm telling you, this is the most magical freaking vomit I've ever experienced in my life. It felt like a ball of energy, like from the depths of my body that I didn't even know existed. Like I had these orbs just like coming out of my body, like all that negative energy was just balled up, and it felt so surreal when it was coming out, and then it just like got quiet. And it was like the shaman just knew, and then it was just like, okay, and moving on to wherever they went. And I was like, oh my God, this was just like an exorcist. Like, what just happened? That it was beautiful but frightening, and like it got really intense, and just like the experience of that purge, because I feared purging the most about going to ayahuasca. That was my biggest fear, because I've had 3 tumors in my sinus cavity, so I have a lot of scar tissue, and throwing up hurts really bad. And I've always feared that issue, because I also had 2 eye surgeries where they had to cut the muscles in the back of my eye to reconstruct. And so I've always been fearful of, like those 2 surgeries, all the scar tissue and everything from vomiting too much and the acid. So they actually showed us, ways to vomit to where it just it's gross, but it just flows down, and it doesn't get in your sinus cavity, like I don't know. That was my biggest fear. And when I was able to surrender and just let it go and just be like, okay, Haley, just purge. If you gotta purge, just do it. When I was able to release that fear, I feel like that's why I didn't purge so much.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Because I was able to just let it go and just be like, okay, I'm accepting of it. If it happens, if I shit myself, whatever, then it happened, but it didn't happen. And so it was like, okay, so then I didn't waste energy on being fearful or worrying or having anxiety over what could happen. And then that made me think of, how many freaking times do we do that in a day? We stress ourselves out about something that might happen in the afternoon.
Oh my God, that's so true.
When it's just like, no, just let it be, because guess what? It never happened. Or,
True. Yes. Yeah.
And we put ourselves in that distress.
Yep. I tend to do that a lot. Like I'm an overthinker, and then also like I worry. Like if I have something stuck in my mind and I'm worried about something, like and then it just makes it all worse. And then I don't know. I need to work on that. Because it's like stress stuff that it's like not actually there. Either it hasn't happened, like you said, or it's like just like why do I do this to myself? I don't know. I don't know.
It definitely takes some reprogramming, like, because we have that need to have some sort of like immediate satisfaction, or like knowing, or like closure on something that we don't have yet. So it's like fear of the unknown, of like, well, shoot, do I have to plan for this now, or like, am I gonna be okay? Like,
that's so true.
Yeah, you get into this like, I see like a static TV where it's just like,
oh yeah, that's good. That's a visual. Yeah,
that's what it feels like.
So like, you do like the physical part and like everything.
So I like to do 6 weeks at a time for my clients, and we meet 1 hour a week for 6 weeks. And the first couple sessions are all very basic about energy work, about how do we actually clear, ground, and protect? How do we sense or discern energy? How are we able to recognize, oh my gosh, our energy versus if we're taking on someone else's? I go over basic things like the colors, the numbers, and how, like what I explained to you, that little game, introduce different types of things like that, modalities to use, tools, like the automatic writing, different types of art. There's just whatever I feel from communicating, and things that we discussed prior, like what I feel their session should look like, depending on the wounds that they need to heal from. These sessions get more in depth of triggers and those inner child wounds, how we are able to, how we are able to target, like recognize in this present moment the triggers that are occurring, why they're occurring, how can we heal from those, what is it from our past, what is our inner child trying to tell us that we need to heal, so it's really just bringing more awareness to those parts of themselves, so that way they feel empowered to continue to work on healing going forward. Like my thing is like, I really don't want to keep them past 6 sessions. Like that would be cool, but just like with training, that's why I didn't do good in the corporate world with training, because I don't like retention. I'm about empowerment. I'm about like building belief in themselves, so that exactly. And that's the same thing with spirituality. What I don't even like calling it spirituality, honestly. It's just, to me, I see it as consciousness. It's just being aware, that's how I like to, I guess, label it as, if I were to label it, just because I feel like it's basic all around, is teaching people more awareness about themselves. And I feel I have a way of doing that by also, I don't like, sometimes people see it as trauma bonding when you share experiences, but if given permission, I feel it's sharing experience of, this is what worked for me. I can offer you what has worked for me to see if it works for you. Otherwise, here's some other resources, here's some other people that have experienced it differently who might be able to help you more. I feel like if we don't take those initial steps of exploring different avenues, we'll never know, or we'll never connect with the right people. Because I know for my guide that I have now, for me, I would have never met him if it weren't for the 2 guides that I went through previously to get to him, so it's like opening up those avenues of learning and growing. And Gary Vee, actually, this reminds me of a video I saw by Gary Vee. I fucking love him.
I know.
He's so amazing. But he talks about failure and how people will force themselves, like, I'm going to be a doctor, and they go to school and then they don't become a doctor. Like they fear failure. They fear, looking bad to their families or whatever it may be. But it's like, maybe you go on that path and you fail and you learn, okay, I don't want to do that specifically, but there was something in that experience that triggered more curiosity in maybe a different field that branches off. And so it's like, you don't take that whole experience, but there are parts of it that you take with you that help you further your growth, and without that, you wouldn't know,
That's so true.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's really all my sessions are when it comes to just the 6-week, the guided session. It's helping people just become more awareness to be able to surrender more in their lives, to be able to listen to themselves, to the synchronicities they're receiving, because a lot of times we end up with headaches. This is so common. I hear it in like a majority of my clients too, like headaches are a key. Why do you have headaches? Because you're not listening to the signs that they're like slapping you in the face with, and you're just like, I don't see the sign. Like it's right there. Like, oh my God.
Whenever
Where?
When I left, you're like gone.
Yeah. You needed a change of environment. Yeah. Oh, isn't it amazing though? But it's like, you get that immediate relief. And then, but that's how we build awareness the hard way, is by being stubborn, unfortunately, but then we learn. But that's why I feel if we have someone in our lives who kind of triggers more awareness, then we don't have to struggle as much. You know what I mean? Like it just helps with the wheel instead of trying to recreate it.
Yep. So true.
Yeah.
And then what about like, do you incorporate workouts too then? Is that a piece of it, or is it more of like, go ahead.
So it's so funny you say that, because today I was just thinking about putting together a program, like how I have the 6-week program, but incorporating, maybe do like a 3-day workout with like 2-day of mobility, something very, very light and easy for people who want to incorporate those things that can do, because at-home workouts are perfectly fine for people who are just trying to be active.
Yep.
Like, I feel fitness is so different for everybody.
Oh, for sure.
And just being active is important. I used to be such a huge snob, I'm not gonna lie, like when it came to lifting, but it's now my perspective is completely changed. And so there's just so many different avenues of just being healthy. So I was really thinking about like, man, should I do that? Like create a legit program where it's like what I already do now, but incorporating maybe a little bit of nutrition and some workouts and like, or hiking, just like the active, I call it active meditation, but I like incorporating, that kind of stuff, because it's like you're in this state of meditation, but you're being active. Like cleaning,
Yes.
that is also the same thing.
Yeah. So yeah, you should make that program.
I should start working on it.
Like, would that be something that would be just for your clients, or like you would just have it for like anyone?
I think,
want?
I think I would offer it as like a program kind of thing, like to purchase,
Mhm.
like this is the whole package. And I'm already envisioning kind of like a book type deal where it's like, this is session 1. And then because I like to use different resources from different books, like, because I have so many different books all over the place about, herbs, chakras, crystals, anything and everything, kind of like what are they called? Grimoires. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the witchy's book, but but have it just more like awareness, like how to incorporate these things in your daily life. Like not so woohoo, but more,
Yeah. That's a good idea.
That would be great. I've been thinking about it for a long time, but I've been very hesitant.
Why?
Hesitant and everything.
Yeah.
I don't know. My fear. That's like maybe judgment, rejection. Yeah. I think that's what it is. Judgment and rejection.
Yeah. I think a lot of people do that. I want to do doing the one-on-one coaching, but I want to be programs for people or like courses or like I love being on video, and I've always wanted to do like a video course. I don't know what it looks like yet, but like,
and see, like also incorporating breath work too into that.
Yes.
And do the whole thing.
So like breath work, when you say breath work, is that just like kind of like meditation, but like you're just focusing on your breath and like the pattern of it, how you're doing it. Deep breath and
there's so many techniques. The one that I experienced, we did it before ceremony at ayahuasca. His name is Vitali, and he runs a phenomenal breathwork course. I really wish he would get online and do this, like, because it was a breathtaking, amazing, like breakthrough experience that so many people in that group had. Like, it wasn't just me. Like, however, though, I had to use the bathroom so bad, and my body was like, I was like, help. And then like I had to have the facilitators come over, and like my body was just like so cramped up, I could not move, and they had to help me like get up. It was crazy
because of the breath work.
Your body will like lock up. It's crazy.
Whoa.
It was
that would freak me out.
It was a 45-minute session, and we listened to songs like, that 7-Year song. Oh my god, everyone was like bawling their eyes out, like it was the greatest though, because everyone is so vulnerable and just screaming and crying, and like there's different patterns. He takes us through the cycles. Like first he did I think it was like 1 to 2 minute, you just practice. He had 5 different types of cycles that we would do. And then after that, he started playing the songs, and we would do longer periods of whatever that example was. And then we would get a short little break of just, okay, breathe normal. But it was intense. It was like, I felt like my head exploded. Like I just lost
Wow.
it. It was crazy.
Yeah.
And then a lot of my stuff from my past just started surfacing. It was like all these things were just like flowing. You start feeling different parts of your body like tingling. It was just crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was really cool.
I
But
wanna do
yeah,
something
like, yeah, incorporating that too.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I would just love to do classes.
Yeah. I don't, is there anything like that here in Sioux Falls?
I
No.
want to do it. I want to do it so bad. My friend Reka and I, like, we talked about doing it. She has a nice house that I feel would fit a good amount of people.
Nice.
Yeah. I just
would be
started doing
cool.
the hiking, and then I'm gonna do an art thing for painting at Tut Hill the following. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna try doing it as much as I can going forward because you know, I feel like getting together and hiking. It was so beautiful and like transformational. Like
Yeah.
all the wildlife we saw. I feel like I don't normally see when I'm by myself. I'm like, there's
Yeah.
nothing. But then of course we're with a group of people and there's a freaking frog. Like since
Yeah.
when?
Yeah.
You know, when are all these animals coming out?
Yeah. So yeah. Do you have clients who are like, okay, so in Sioux Falls, but like what about like virtual?
Yeah,
Okay,
I have virtual
yeah.
clients
Nice.
too. Like one right now is in California, one is in Florida.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And I honestly don't know where the other guy.
Is that just through like social media or how do you have those connections? Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
social media. Either through Instagram or Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
And it's normally like through someone else.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
it just happens.
Yep.
And that's the thing too, is like I haven't put true effort into marketing or advertising, which that is my fear also because I don't think I could manage by myself. There's like no way I could manage by myself. Like I would need to find someone that I feel I can trust that would be
Yeah.
able to help me manage because it's like, yeah, I can bring in the money and help and I could support, you know, someone financially, but
trusting someone.
oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God, because it would be like you would have access to like my social medias too and to like my information, you
Yeah.
know, and that's like to me, I'm so used to doing everything by myself. So it's like
Yep.
having to let go of some of
Let
that
go of
control
that, yeah.
and like, oh my God.
I totally get that too, though.
So
I get that.
that's why I'm like
Very good.
hesitant. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like going full in, even
Yeah.
though it's like in my mind, it's like you have to. You
Yep.
have
Like
to.
eventually, yeah. But also that's awesome that you haven't done any marketing, but like
Yeah.
you have clients. Yeah.
I feel like the universe is just taking care of me right now, you know? And it's like I'm just being babied
Yeah.
to it very slowly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely scared. Yeah. I'm trying not to be, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you, so like in Sioux Falls, because sometimes I see that you do like psychic readings, tarot reading. You do things like that too.
Mhm.
So is when you say tarot and psychic readings, are they the same thing?
Yes. I don't even honestly know. I have not figured out how I want to labeling, you know, because it's like I've
Yeah.
gone from like oracle reading, mystic readings, psychic
Yeah.
readings, and it's like, yeah, tarot and oracle are different, but how I see it, like it's all intuitive. It's all energy work.
yeah.
It's all just reading the energy and using, you know, the knowledge of whatever you have with symbolism and numbers and whatever else, and you just incorporate that and you just listen to the messages you're receiving
Yeah.
when you're in that space with someone else. Like, I don't know how to label it, honestly.
Yeah. I like the intuitive reading or like energy reading. Like
Mhm.
that. I like that.
And I feel if I say energy though, people also take that differently. I feel like energy is misunderstood
Yeah.
too, especially when it's like energy healing, energy work.
Yeah.
And it's like, do you know what that is?
Yeah.
So I just, you know, I just like to use pictures and
Yeah.
you know, do you want to do a quick one while we're like
Yeah.
Yay. Okay. So whatever however you want to put your energy, you can split it, shuffle it, put it back together, and then I'll shuffle it off.
Yeah, I just remember it was just like,
I get asked that so often. How do you do that? Like people want to know like the science behind it, and it's like I can't explain.
yeah, yeah.
Real quick. Immediately I was sensing a lot of heat in my third eye, but then almost like in the back of my throat, but nutrition came to mind. So something that you may be taking as a supplement or eating that your body is like, it's not doing, it's not sitting really well in your stomach. It's like the right idea, but switch up brands or, you know, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. All right, you got coming together. So this is like creating balance. So like coming together, this shows more of like a loving union, but this, I'm seeing this as your body. You are starting to really come together. You are starting to understand how your body is working, how things are affecting your body, like everything, how everything affects your body, not just food, energy, you know, how different types of like lifting. You got changing your focus and win or lose. So this is about making decisions that benefit everybody, not just yourself. So changing your focus on something to look at the bigger picture. Yeah. Oh. And picking or choosing your battles. So you are spending a lot of energy right now trying to defend yourself or explain your opinion. Like there's something going on where you're like, you want to be heard in a situation, and that's what this is about too, is changing your focus to just let it go, because whoever that you're dealing with, they are very stuck in their ways of like understanding. They're just not going to see from your perspective right now. Like they're too much, they're blinded by something right now. There you go.
And all, geez, okay. And also, so this one, I mean, everything you said, like totally something came to mind. And also the nutrition, like when you said switching brands and stuff, lately I've been thinking about like, we've been having a lot of chicken, but I know that the quality that you buy at like Hy-Vee is not good. Like, it's not good. Like, I'm sure that they eat like, you know, what other things. Minus my, like, I've been wanting to switch. Have you heard of Butcher Box?
Yeah.
And I learned that a couple of days ago. But like, you need to switch it to get better quality. And to like, yeah.
So this is like, good job.
Yeah. Because I was trying to think of like if there was anything else, but I mean, I had ice cream the other day and that, but like yesterday, but yeah, wow. So when you do readings and stuff, so like all of the information, like that information, do people write stuff down? Because like I feel like this is like I want to like write it down to like.
I always recommend that they, yeah, I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
I absolutely like recommend that they bring like a notebook to write with, or they can record with their phone if they have like a voice. Okay. Yeah, like I have this just recording app too. So
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, okay. If they feel like they want to record it, absolutely. Nice. Like I recommend, because we don't always retain everything in that moment that we are experiencing it.
Yes. Yeah. Like as things like came to my head with it, but like I know that I take more time to like listen, re-listen, think through it. Like things will come to mind later about it. So yeah, I'll have it re-listen to. Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah, that was fun. That was amazing. anything else that like I want, but oh yeah. So you talked about inner child work. So you do that with people, like okay, so what is inner child work? And then also, do you do shadow work?
Yes.
I do
So
both.
yeah, so I mean, there's shadow work is just confronting any, parts about ourselves that we are suppressing that come up during, those triggered moments.
Oh
And,
yeah.
like it's parts about ourselves that we tend to label as negative, but actually there's a lot of beauty behind them and a lot of reason why we do them or hide them. And a lot of that inner child is actually tied into that shadow. So when you start doing shadow work, you do target your inner child and you do target other parts, that you have acquired through the years, so to say. Teenage years are a very predominant era of life, or like early 20s, when we have these really traumatic shifting phases in our life. The shadow work just really targets the root cause of whatever is being projected in the now. And so a lot of times our inner child comes out to us in those moments where we feel angry or depressed. And it's how I see it, my view, is that like when we experience deja vu or any type of like those triggers in that moment, that is literally like our inner child that is, I see it in a different timeline guiding us. It is literally we are guiding ourselves just in a different timeline. Our inner child is like, hey, pay attention to this. Hey, we need to heal from this. Let me guide you through this. You are recognizing this as, a crucial part of your life because you need to heal and figure this out before you can move on. It's like when we target specific parts of our inner child too, it helps us, in every timeline, past, present, future. It's all I think it's all the same. But
Yep.
that's a whole nother,
That's what I was trying to do that for the future, but like
it's exactly. So that's why I feel like it's all tied in. Inner child, the shadow work, it's all very similar.
yeah.
It's just a matter of with the shadow work, what type are you gonna do and what are you gonna target specifically, right? Like relationships, for example. That's one part that you could work on healing with your inner child if you have attachment issues. Most of us have attachment issues. What attachment issue is it? Why do you have it? How can you heal from it? How can you create understanding from it? Instead of trying to be understood, can you put yourself in a different, mindset? Can you take yourself out of your own shoes and experience it differently so that you can see the connectedness between everybody instead of being in a victim mentality? So it takes you out of your own body to really perceive things in a different way so you can be more objective instead of subjective. But yeah, there's different ways of going about shadow work, and that's why I like incorporating art, because there is types of artwork that you can do as shadow work. Automatic journaling, there's automatic drawing, there's the what earlier I was saying active meditation. Different ways of doing active meditation is your ways to connect with self, but you have to set intention behind it. Like when you are working with inner child or just shadow work in general for a specific issue that you've been trying to figure out, but you have to set that specific intention. So like I said, relationships, why do I keep attracting the same type of partner? What about yourself is attracting that? You know what I mean? Like it's like healing that part about yourself so you cease that cycle so it no longer continues. But you have to put yourself into that different perspective in order to achieve that goal. Otherwise, you're going to still keep having that victim mentality of like, no, it's just the type of people I attract in my life. Like, no, there's something about you that you got to figure out and heal from so that you can attract different quality people into your life so that you move on from that, or like, career-based there's a lot of people who have a lack mindset around abundance because they believe that there isn't enough abundance to go around in the world, but there really is. It's just a matter of, you know, creating that reality and understanding that you create your own abundance, you know. Healing parts about, like, for me, for example, growing up very poor in trailer park and like having to go through that experience of being at a very low level and doing the things and seeing the things that, you know, most kids shouldn't have to see or do, that it's like you grow up in such a way that, you know, your perspective changes on money, how you view money, what money means to you. But not everybody gets that opportunity. And I say opportunity, most people see it as, oh, that's traumatic, that's terrible, kids shouldn't do that. Like, no, that was really a growth opportunity, because look at me now. Like, that's the beauty of free will and having those choices we can make. You know, are you going to let it wound you, or are you going to make you, or is it going to make you wise? You know, like, how are you going to go about the situation? We have that choice, and that abundance is there for everybody. Like, yeah, so being able to teach people how to heal those parts about their inner child, as well as maybe targeting some of those qualities that maybe were consistent patterns throughout their lives, to do shadow work on each one of those phases, giving people the tools to continuously work on themselves when they notice those things come up. I feel it's so rewarding in the fact that they are able to then pass that out to other people too. But yeah, it's the main thing that I like to focus on is however they feel comfortable getting out their truth. That is like step one, is being raw and genuine with themselves, because a lot of times people fear putting things on paper. They don't like to write because they don't want to see it. They don't want to read it. They don't want it to be real. So they don't want to put it out there. But you've got to embrace it and experience it if you want to heal from it.
Yep. Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wanna do that. I don't know. I don't remember where I first heard of like shadow work and stuff, but yeah, I just feel like for me, we all have that work that we need to do. And even like there's probably things that like I don't even realize. For most people too, like don't even realize it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. It's like we go through our day-to-day life, like we have become so conditioned with who we are now that like we have listened to people our whole lives put us into these boxes of who we believe ourselves to be now. And it's like simple little qualities, like maybe even your morning routine, how your morning routine. Oh
How
shit.
did that happen?
See? It's little things like that that we don't realize. Little routines are things that we picked up throughout our lives.
Yeah.
The microphone was like,
Yeah.
yeah, 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 I'm like, morning routines.
So like when you say morning, so like morning routine and like working through that, do you mean like, what do you mean by that, I guess?
So I'm speaking about the conditions that we have succumbed to throughout our lives. Like we have created the morning routine that we have now from somewhere. Was it from our parents? Was it from an ex-lover? Like, or was it a combination of those two things and maybe some of my own tied-in independence because of my need to rush to get ready for work or school? Like having that right there, that anxiousness of wanting to control the situation, to be on time, that is also a condition that we have created for ourselves. That it's like that's where the reprogram has to begin, is being raw with ourselves about, okay, is this morning routine actually something I want to do? Is it structured the way that I actually want it to be? And like literally, that's a great example to look at that and be like, okay, what would I change? What would make me more happier? Not what would fit someone else's schedule or what would fit someone else's needs or wants, or like me having to be ready a specific time for someone else. Put all that aside. What would it be just for you? What would that look like? You know? And that's where the reprogramming starts, is having that awareness from the very beginning of like these things that we are completely unaware of because we for so long created it into like this habit of just doing. So now,
Wow. Yep.
yeah, crazy.
And that's like the conditioning process. It's like the habits that we've made. Like,
Yeah.
oh my God.
Yeah. And so now the reprogramming, taking that breath, that step back and being like, okay, is this actually me?
Yeah.
Did I create this like for me?
Right. Yes. Yeah, that's a great
Yeah.
question. Did I create this for me,
Yeah.
myself?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, it'll make you look at everything differently.
Yeah.
Now you're gonna start being like, oh shit.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. And like questioning everything. Like I remember when I started to become more just like to like more awareness and like be more conscious of things. It's like crazy when you go about your day and you ask yourself questions, like you question things, you question everything, and then like you're just like sometimes I'll just be like sitting outside or walking, and it's like I snap into awareness of like noticing, like intentionally noticing like trees I've never seen before, or like my feet, like feel the little toe when I walk, like things like that, like just and then having the awareness in like other aspects of life, like when you're eating or like breathing, you're working out, and like it's just crazy. And then realizing like all of the things that like I've been conditioned, and then like being aware that conditioned that.
Yeah. And then you can start creating the life that you like genuinely want at a soul level.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'll just start manifesting little bit by bit the more that you become aware and the more that you start making those little changes for you.
Yep.
And it's like a lot of people are like, oh, that's so selfish. But it's like, you got to take care of yourself first.
Yeah.
We literally go to our grave alone. You know? So it's like,
that's a good point.
Let me take care of me so I can take care of everybody else.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yep. So if someone's listening and they're like, I want to learn more and I want to maybe work with Haley, where do they go?
Well, my Facebook is like my main source, Facebook or Instagram or TikTok. The only thing I don't like about TikTok is you can't message people unless you're like friends with them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's so weird. TikTok is.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's so weird. But yeah, Instagram or Facebook.
I'll link those too.
Yeah, I mean,
do you have a website?
I have no. I used to.
I don't either. I think I mean, yeah, it can be beneficial, but I feel like it's kind of the hype. It's a conditioning process. You have to have a website for a business, like
exactly
in different ways. Like you don't need like business cards. I mean, business cards are good.
Yeah,
like handing them out, and I there have been a lot of times when like I've wanted to hand out a business card, but I feel like we don't need it to like be successful or like have clients or business or whatever.
I agree.
Anyway,
It's definitely a great tool.
Yeah. For sure.
But yeah, Facebook is my best way to contact me. I have my business page or my personal page. Either one is good. I get messages from both of them.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Okay. You do the coaching, you do the jewelry, and readings, and that's kind of just everything. Yeah. Well, thanks for doing this. Thanks for reaching out. I'm so excited when you like message me, I'm like, oh hell yeah.
I was kind of low key like, of course, scared. Like, dang, I am starting to recognize all the fears that I have around opening up who I am. And so that's why I was like, oh my God, I'm so glad that she said yes, because I wanted to, but I was like, no, I'm just gonna like wait. no, you have to.
Wait.
Oh, I also do post the events on my business page. So if anyone wants to do any of the events, like the guided meditations, the hiking, the breath work, because I do want to start doing breath work classes. So
good. Yeah. Okay.
But all that stuff is like even posted on my business page or in that Sioux Falls Magic group.
Awesome. Yeah, which also like so the group does it have to be like or like anyone in that?
Anyone can be in it, but the events would be in Sioux Falls. So they can be in it.
Yep. I remember what I was gonna say. I was just gonna say that I get like lately have been wanting to actually make a post or something, but bring on local people from Sioux Falls.
Yeah.
To like just talk and meet and also like to share their business and stuff like that. But and just for like that way. So yeah. Anyways,
That
well,
was
thank
so
you.
sweet.
Yay. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.